You're listening to the SClubBeat with Dale and Katey.
Hi, and welcome back to the SClubBeat. I'm Dale.
And I'm Katey.
And today we are here for part 2 of our SClub7 in Miami / Miami 7 discussion. And who do we have with us back today, Katey?
We got Jess again.
We have Jess again. So we are going to go through episodes 5 through 9 on this episode. And next week we will finish off the season with 10 through 13. I just want to, again, preface how much we love Jess. Like, if y'all didn't get it from the last episode, this set of episodes is going to sell it for you because Jess is amazing and we just love Jess. She'll probably be back for all of our episodes. We're just going to scrap all of the other guests and just have Jess because that's how much we
Dale's
love her.
just fangirling right now.
I love Jess so much.
Hello, friend.
We couldn't have had a better guest for this episode. We love Jess so much. So much love for Jess.
Thanks. It was so
Jess,
much fun
did
talking
you-
in that episode.
So Jess, did you want to go over this next episode, The Man from E.M.I?
Yeah, I would love to. It's such a fun episode. It starts off with Jo receiving a ton of mail from her boyfriend, whose name is Robert, and it includes tons of letters and a balloon, and she gets a cake that when they open it up, it's like a heart-shaped cake, but it didn't arrive well, so it's like all mushy and stuff.
Correction, it
Paul-
was a heart-shaped case.
Paul eats it, though. Paul eats it.
Paul eats anything.
Yeah, that's kind of like an ongoing thing with him in the show. Like, he just like eats anything. So that kind of makes sense. But and then Rachel, like, you know, she's always having a say about, like, you know, her like relationships and her love life. So she refers to her boyfriend, and her nickname for him is Tuffy Tail. I've never heard anyone refer to their partner as Tuffy Tail.
Tufty
Ever.
tail.
So
I'm going
here
to
we
call
are.
my next partner Tufty Tail. It's
See what
clear.
they say. You're like, what is that?
You
And
insulting
then-
me?
And then, like, throughout these episodes of this podcast, like, we've been kind of referring to like what Howard calls each of the members throughout the episodes, but this time we get a full rundown of all their kid nicknames. So we have Tina, who is Tall Kid, Hannah, Short Kid, Bradley, Kid, straight up just Kid, John, Vocab Kid, Paul is Smart Kid, Rachel is
How he got that, I
Long-Haired Kid. It's a bit of a stretch. Rachel is Long-Haired Kid, and Jo is Other Kid. So now we have like the official list, but there's also alternatives because like Paul was also called Sensible Kid at one point, and Tina was called Other Kid previously. So
I had that wrong earlier because I said John was called Sensible Kid and it was Paul that was called Sensible Kid. So
in the
Well,
Luau episode, yeah, like
yeah.
the beginning episode.
Small and sensible is kind of smart and sensible is kind of the same thing, isn't it?
yeah. Which
Maybe
is
a
weird
little-
that that's Paul. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he's
because
the one who
somebody's
was
called
chosen to
Older
run the
Kid
hotel.
later.
That's true. That is true. And then in the back end of all of this, like happening with Joe's like boyfriend sending her stuff, Hannah takes a call when she's working the reception area from a Chris Littlejohn from E.M.I, who she assumes to be part of like the record label as a record executive for the E.M.I label. So yeah, so that's like also going on in the background. So at this point we have like two different like sets of storylines happening. Jo and her boyfriend, Hannah speaking to this guy who like could possibly be a record executive. And the boys, you know, Hannah tells the band about this phone call, about this person, and the boys are tasked with writing a new song for the man from E.M.I. And apparently they have ideas of what they're gonna write a song about.
Around this discussion where they're saying, "Oh, the boys will write the song," they're seen with these little soda cans like on the table at the beach, and that's actually Jones soda. So each of them have. I don't know if y'all have had Jones soda, but they're very
never heard of
sweet sodas. I think it might be a southern thing, but they're really big down here.
I think I've seen them around the Midwest. I've never drank them, but I think I've seen them.
They're very
So.
sweet. So I just wanted to interject there, Jess. I'm sorry.
No, thank you for bringing that up. That's actually a very cool thing that you caught during the rewatch.
Yeah, so I try to, because something I'm obsessed with is product placement. So that's kind of what I try to look for in these things. And in like LA, like in Hollywood, they're very bad about marking things off so it doesn't fall within like product placement territory or like.
No, that's LA. The corn
think they do it in
parks
both.
and the zits.
I think they do it in both. But they they do that a lot, and it's something that they didn't really do in Miami because they clearly have Joan Soda, and like at one point in a later episode, Marvin asks Howard, does he want a Tic Tac? Like specifically a Tic Tac. And I look for those sort of things, like looking back at like TV shows in this era, like what is the product placement? But this isn't product placement. This is just them not caring.
That, or sometimes things are not, things can be cleared to say.
Yeah.
Like from a product perspective, they don't need to get like a sign off from the brand. So yeah, it could have been either or. Jo decides that, she's getting way too many letters, and she just has to like shuck him. She just has to like dump her boyfriend. So she can't take it anymore. So the girls assist with helping her write a letter, just because like, Jo can be very blunt, which is something that I love about her character. So they're just gonna like, let's soften it up a bit. Like, we're gonna help you out to write this letter. So then Jo finally completes her letter. And she sits everyone down, and she's like, okay, I'm going to read it to you guys. And
Jess,
she
I
says...
need you to read this exactly like Jo does. You have to do it exactly like Jo.
All right, this is going off based off memory, so here we go. She goes, Dear Robert, I want a break. Make that a permanent break. It's kaput, finit, hasta la vista, baby, which in English means, well, I'm not sure what it means, but basically, it's not you, it's me. No, it is you after all. There may or may not be someone else, but let's just stay friends, or possibly not. P.S. I didn't like your shoes much. Love, Jo. And I just love the way she says this, because it's like she's so proud of herself for like writing this great letter. And she's just kind of like, oh, it's a whatever letter. It's not like a break, like, usually breakup letters are like a little bit more like softer and sadder, but she's just like, this is how it's gonna go. Like, this is soft
first of all,
I'm gonna get.
Could you imagine someone breaking up with you via letter? Like, could you imagine?
Well, it's
being
a common thing because there's a Dear John letter. Like, that's normal.
I swear to God, if someone ever broke up with me via letter, I'd be so mad.
Well, it's nowadays you break up over text. Same thing.
That upsets me too. Anyway.
I did that.
Everything upsets me. But it is a great letter. It's very like, yeah, to the point, which is very character for Jo. Just like, she doesn't mess about. She's not going around it. She's just like laying it flat. This is how it is.
I love that
there's
they were
also
like, you can't send that letter. She goes, I know, I don't have a stamp.
I can't send this.
No, you're right.
I ain't got a stamp.
After she reads this letter, John ends up saying like, okay, yep, I've written a song called It's Over for the man from E.M.I. And it apparently contains the word misery. However, in the S Club universe, there is no S Club song that exists titled It's Over. So where did the song go? We may never know.
But it does also include the words full on and gone. So misery,
so
full on and gone.
We get clues
what
about
it
these lyrics.
Like.
We get 4 words. We get 5. It's over, misery, full on, and gone. So piece it together, people. And then the girls, they're excited about this E.M.I. executive assistant, or just like this executive. And they end up going into the room that he's going to be staying in and kind of making it all nice and stuff. And Rachel leaves a photo of the band and is told by one of them, it's kind of pathetic on its own, just like leaving a single photo.
Just one photo.
So the natural, just one photo is pathetic. So naturally, they just put the whole mirror full of photos. They just kind of go extreme. It's like go big or go home kind of situation. One photo's pathetic, but 10? Not pathetic. So after all of this, Robert, who is Joe's boyfriend, he turns up at the hotel unannounced. Joe has no idea that he's in the country in Florida. And
Maybe
she
if she would have
decides
read
to
all his
rewrite the
letters.
letter. You're right. Maybe he was giving her a heads up, like, hey, I booked my ticket. Couldn't be bothered to read it. She was over him already. But she ends up rewriting this letter to Robert, and she starts reading it to the girls. And he walks up behind her and he listens to her saying, which just reading this letter. So then he was visibly sad about it. He did not fly all this way to be dumped, by Joe.
And
so
then
that's a little sad.
Something that's funny, and this kind of goes back to Joe's character thing, is the band are trying to stop her from reading this letter, but she's like, no, I'm good. And then she just keeps going. She's like, I'm going to read this.
It's very personality based. Yeah, it's very Joe, I'm telling you, they're
almost done. Come on.
Yeah.
Just give me another minute. It's fine.
Yeah,
very
she's
persistent.
Very gun-ho. Yeah, very persistent, gun-ho. Maybe that's the way. Okay, this is a bit of a tangent, but I swear I'll come back to this episode. When I met them, I told them how throughout the I feel as a kid I absorbed all 7 of their personalities from how much I watched the show, because I feel I do have my moments of Joe of being very blunt and just da 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 da, and then I have my moments of Rachel and Hannah, where it's I'm a little ditzy at times, I'm clumsy like Paul. So we kind of spoke about that in person about as a kid, and I am the way I am because of the 7 of them.
I think we can all say that.
So the band, they end up setting up for the performance when Bradley discovers that Chris Littleton, which is this person they think is from E.M.I, is actually Christine Littlejohn. So it's a woman, it's not a man. And
Sexist.
John
How
is
sexist of them.
That wouldn't kind of maybe fly nowadays.
Bradley messed up on quality chatting up time.
Yeah.
Because that's all he cares about.
Which is something that's consistent throughout the show. Brad is very much always the ladies' man, or he wants to be talking to girls. In the background, John is having difficulty finishing the song, and the girls approach him advising that Joe has actually written a song for Robert. So based off everything that happened when her boyfriend heard the letter. So he doesn't need to finish writing that song anyways. They already have a song.
So we will never get It's Over. And
yeah.
So I want to interject here because we were discussing earlier,
our debate.
John is asking,
is that your...
John is asking Robert how he feels, and that's where the other words kind of come in, misery and
right.
all that stuff. So he's consistently trying to write the song, and he's using Robert as a reference at this point. He's like, how does that make you feel? Do you have anything that rhymes with this word? And this is where the spinach thing comes in. So continue, Jess. I just wanted to interject there.
Well, that's good. You're right. He does kind of go up to him to be like, how does it feel? But anyways, Joe ends up in the S Club universe. The song 2 in a Million is based off Joe and Robert's relationship, I suppose. And they perform.
Okay, me and Dale have had this debate. I thought that's what you were going to bring up a minute ago. Is it a love song or a breakup song? Because it's a
Jess,
love song to
think?
me, and he says it's about a breakup.
No, it's about a relationship. It's not a breakup song.
Yes, thank you.
Well,
we have to go line by line.
Huh?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. She broke up and she wrote a song about him, but it's not a breakup song.
It's not a breakup song.
I need John's song It's Over to make sense of this episode.
Dale keeps saying it's a breakup song, and it's not.
It's a breakup song. The world of S Club listeners also, or not listeners, viewers also disagree with me. So someone messaged me saying that it can't be a breakup song because they're going to play it at their wedding. And I was like, oh. Anyway.
If we look at the chorus, there's no way it's a breakup song. We are. It's current. We are 2 in a Million.
Well, Robert and Joe are not 2 in a Million, Jess.
No, well, that's a whole other. That falls under the category of inconsistency. That song should have never been.
Used
Joe
in
should
this
have never written
episode.
that song. Yeah, like it doesn't make sense that she was inspired to write the song. But here we
And
are.
also, the boys are just backup dancers. Like, they don't even get to sing it. Like, she's like, you couldn't write the song, so you don't get to sing it all.
I wonder, because none of the other S Club songs really fit a breakup. Like, this situation would have been probably better suited for LA when they do All in Love is Fair or something.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
That's a cheating one, though. He didn't cheat until she broke... Well, he didn't cheat. She broke up with him, and then he bounced right to Christine.
Or Cross My Heart.
Like, this song would make more sense. This song would make sense if Joe and her got... Yeah, well, you're right. This episode and this song would make more sense, like, thematically, if they got back together at the end of the episode. But they didn't.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, anyways, my stance is... It is not a breakup song, and I'm sure everyone else can vote who's listening and let us know what they think
already.
Because
they've already voiced their concerns, and I lost.
He lost.
It's
you
fine.
lost. As usual.
I lost.
You lost. Yes.
Get it.
But anyway, the episode ends with the meeting the woman from E.M.I, and Robert ends up chatting with her. So good for him, you know.
He's not down very long.
He's off. Yeah. And the band learns that E.M.I actually doesn't stand for like the label. It's Elevator Moods International. So it's a little elevator music that you hear when you're waiting and you're just like stuck in a little elevator with people awkwardly. That's the music that you hear. So this E.M.I person's like, yeah, like your song's great.
You just have to remove all of the vocals and make it about, 2 hours longer or something? Put some strings in there.
Like an endless loop. And then that's when they're really
confused. Or lose the strings, I think it was.
Yeah, lose the strings.
Yeah.
So, that was that episode. You did a great job, Jess. We love that.
Ping, ping, ping.
Thank you. It was a fun one to walk through.
Yeah, you did a great job with the letter. So we're going to talk about the 6th episode, Alligator, which I believe is the last time we actually see Clint, the alligator. I don't think he's referenced again. He just disappears. So do you know how in like some TV shows they have characters that are never seen? Mm-hmm. Or like there's this one episode where I think the Brady Bunch has a cousin come visit or something, and then he just walks out the door and they never talk about him or see him again. That's Clint.
Yeah. There's a few TGIF shows that have little sisters that disappear and are never seen again.
Yeah. So I guess it's just something for that era of time. So anyway, the episode begins. Yeah. Keeping the same actress too. Ooh. So the episode starts with Clint, which is the alligator, who's refusing to eat. And S Club, specifically John, decides that he is unhappy. Meanwhile, Howard has signed up for a dating service and receives a match through the mail. Could y'all imagine doing a mail-in dating thing? Like, internet dating is already so terrible for my mental health. I could not imagine waiting for a mail match. Could y'all? That sounds like a terrible time. Anyway, in this episode, we find out that Marvin is actually married to a woman named Tracy Sue for the past 19 years. Did y'all ever catch that bit? She's one of those characters that's never seen. Right. I never knew. Yeah. So, in this time, Marvin asks Joe, Tina, and Rachel to assist Howard in getting ready for his date. So, they are asking themselves why should they, and Howard flashes the money in front of them, and then they just get excited to do it. Money makes the world go round, ladies. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Here.
In this, S Club rehearsed Bring It All Back. This is not the first time we heard Bring It All Back, because it is at the start of every episode. In case y'all didn't know, I don't think we've talked about that. But in this episode, they rehearsed Bring It All Back.
We didn't talk about the theme song yet.
But it's Bring It All Back. But I talk about it a little bit later in the Court and Act episode, where they again perform it. So S Club rehearsed Bring It All Back. Meanwhile, John Bradley, Paul, and Hannah work together to set Clint free through this amazing field of tunnels that they somehow get Clint into the laundry van, and they make Hannah go through it first as like a test to see if it works, and like she just says something somewhere along the line. She says, "Wait until I get my teeth into you, yummy boy."
Ha ha! Well, just wait till I get my teeth into you, yummy boy.
Hannah!
And again, this is a children's show, and like she's talking like as an alligator, but it could be taken as a very sexual undertone. Anyway, to get Howard away from the hotel, Joe, Rachel, Tina, and Marvin take Marvin to the mall. Not Marvin, Howard. They take Howard to the mall to get him all fancied up. And then Rachel, as she enters the mall, because Howard assumes that this is going to be a real quick trip. You know, we're just going to go to the discount store, and Rachel just passes right out when she discovers that Howard does all of his shopping within 20 minutes at discount stores specifically. So something that I'm going to talk about here is that at the end of the show, like at the end of this, when they're leaving the mall and they have all these bags, Rachel is carrying a bag from Marshall's, which is a discount store. So this is another one of those product placement things that I noticed, like they're advertising Marshall's here and it's a discount store. And earlier in the episode, she passed out. So again, it's the inconsistencies for me. It's just.
Well, she actually passed out before she passed out. Did you notice that?
No. Again, I was.
Yeah, it pulls away from her, but you can see her. You can see her like sit on the ground, and then they act like she passed out, and she was already laying on the ground.
Oh dear. So much to learn. And that right?
Beautiful.
Oh, they just cut.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of see the corner of her foot that she actually sits down first.
A sidebar about this is that this mall is in Fort Lauderdale. It's called the Galleria. And I went like 2 years ago, and it is exactly like the same inside. Like there has been no upgrades. So it's like, it feels like a time capsule of like
most malls
the
do
late
these
90s or
days. Most malls do.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of Miami malls are like a lot more modern, but Fort Lauderdale's kind of like stuck in like the retirement old people kind of vibe. But yeah, if you want to take it back and like, if you're in Fort Lauderdale, go to the Galleria. It's a good mall.
Yep. It's on 2414 East Sunrise Boulevard. Just
Sunrise, good old
Katie.
Sunrise.
Huh?
All right. Good point out there, Katie. The address, the specific
Howard's
address. No, I'm good.
Okay.
So while Howard is trying on his new wardrobe, SClub perform a shortened version of their bop, So Right, which we previously talked about in the Bring It All Back episode. And of course, it's iconic. And then Howard, Rachel, Tina, and Joe get facials and have Howard's back waxed. And you just hear Howard, like every time they pull a strip, it's just him shouting. And I think that's hilarious. And
Marvin's so distraught about it.
He's like, he's going to be in so much pain. So Bradley, John, Paul, and Hannah work to set Clint free. And after setting him free, Clint returns only for Marvin to tell them that he's actually a homing alligator that comes and goes as he pleases. Like the gate is just open for Clint to leave whenever he wants to. Maybe that's where he was for the rest of the series. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
And then after all of this, Howard returns from his date with his internet match or his mail letter dating match for him to only be critical of his date's appearance, and the girls realize that they've recreated a stylish monster. And this is something that is not continued throughout the series, and this is the beginning of end of Howard's stylish monster persona. Like at the beginning of the next episode, it's completely gone and it's never thought of again. Yeah. And that's just the end of this episode, y'all. It's the end of the episode. Like, I think Jess said it at the beginning, or Katie. One of y'all said it, that it's not their favorite episode. And it's just kind of boring. Like, I could have done without it. Like, imagine had I started my SClub series with this episode. Just imagine.
Well, I mean, like, and there's always two, plot lines going on at the same time, but they still kind of intertwine. And this one, like, neither set of band members are together at any point. It's like two separate filming the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, it does never seem like, yeah.
All right, so we're going to delve right into our next episode, which is aptly entitled Volleyball. Have y'all ever played volleyball?
Yes, and I suck at it.
It's hard.
In
Like,
school.
I've never played
volleyball is hard.
I've never played
It's
it.
hard with the sand.
I don't like being outside.
There's
I just
indoor volleyball. There's no excuses.
I don't like sweating either.
Well, that's fair.
I'm just very anti.
I don't have the strength.
I don't have the umph to want to do anything. Okay, Katey, did you want to
Jeez.
take us through the volleyball episode?
Sure.
Yay!
So the volleyball starts with all of them sunbathing, and this time John's going girl crazy.
Could you imagine a John Lee going girl crazy in 2024?
Well, I mean, it was the time. We don't appreciate it now, but it was the time they, I guess, had to keep up appearances. And so he's all about the girl, and everybody else is bored, so they decide to take up volleyball. But no one knows how to play volleyball, which I don't know how. It's not like volleyball's an American thing. They should know how to play volleyball.
I thought it was.
Well, it's in the Olympics.
Again, I don't play volleyball. I don't know. I don't watch the Olympics.
Okay.
Anyway, continue,
And
Katey.
so, yes. So they decided to play volleyball, and they decided to use a beach ball, which obviously does not work. So the beach ball rolls right to a cute man, and Hannah now falls smitten for him. And he teaches them to play volleyball. And we also learn, because John is talking with Joe, trying to get some tips about how to flirt, and we learn that he can juggle and speak French.
We need to ask him if this is a real life thing or if it was just written for the show.
I can feel like it's a real life thing. I mean, they live, Europe is close to France.
I'll message him and we can go to our YouTube and we'll put a screenshot right here of his response if he responds.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
So, the volleyball player comes over. His name's Taylor. They come over to teach SClub to play volleyball, but Rachel's the light. There's only 6 of them. So that means she can sit on her lounger. And so they get their butt kicked by the volleyball. And so, while Hannah talking to Taylor, she realizes that he works for Sunset Sands, which is Howard's cousin's hotel. Yep. So when they ask Howard to get time off to play volleyball, he originally says no, but then they find out it's for Sunset Sands, so he instantly is all for it, because now he wants to place bets against his cousin. And John asks Bradley now for advice. He's just going through all the band members to get their advice on love. So he asks Bradley, and who tells him there's no magical formula. Which then he talks to Paul later and says there is a magical formula. I just skipped ahead there. I don't care. But Paul says he can't tell you, or he doesn't know what it is. So Howard, obsessed with the volleyball, sets up a schedule for SClub to train so they can beat the Sunset Sands. And they're training all the time. And we learn, while they're playing volleyball, we hear the demo version of You're My Number One, which you would think was on the CD that says Miami 7 version. It is not on the Miami 7 version. No, we are gypped. So they start the volleyball game, and it's revealed that Howard is actually betting against SClub and he says if S Club win, he will eat his shorts.
Mhm,
So they play the game. John falls over and twists his ankle. So he hobbles over, and lo and behold, he sits next to the cute girl. So he gets to talk with her, which is just cringy flirting. Like, sadly, Rachel has to join. So
Her poor tan.
Yeah, she can't tan anymore. And can we talk about this nickname, the Hoppy? Like,
Yeah,
that's
the
like
girl.
the worst. Like,
Well, I
Cringe.
mean, it's better than Tufty
Yeah.
Taft.
You're
Yeah.
so right.
Tufty Tail.
You're so right.
Tufty Tail, I'm sorry.
They do their whole United We Stand, Divided We Fall.
Mm-hmm. With only 6
Because
of
they're
them.
going to kick some butt. Yes. Because they're going to
Only
kick
6.
some butt.
Mhm,
And apparently it
mhm.
only works when Paul says it. Maybe he has that extra strength of 2 people. Howard ends up chanting about go Sunset Sands.
Sunset, sunset, sunset.
Yeah. So then John and his girl don't they start shouting the other one?
Paradise.
What did they yell? Yeah,
Paradise.
Paradise. Yeah, go Paradise. Yeah, I love that slow motion of John when he's doing that. It's like Paradise.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
Rachel serves, or she doesn't serve the spike. She jumps up and hits it back over, which hit the net, so that was totally invalid. She should not have won that.
She
No.
did.
And then he gets up. John gets up and forgets he has a weak ankle and falls over. And then Howard has to eat his pants because they won. Because of course,
Yeah.
S Club always wins. They win
It
races.
wouldn't make sense
they win
otherwise.
games. Yeah.
It would not make sense
They are the
otherwise,
heroes.
Katie.
Yep.
So, did we really get a performance in this episode?
We did not.
You're
What is
right.
the?
I don't
Yeah.
think there was.
They did. You're my number one.
Fact-checking book. I mean,
Yeah.
that book is
Yeah, I'm
I
a-
not
think I
very...
remember the fact that was odd about the episode. There was no performance.
Volleyball.
I don't, yeah,
So
I
they
don't think
said
there was
S Club
time for
sing, you're my number. That says S Club sing, you're my number one. So I guess while the volleyball practicing, that's what they count as
Yeah.
performance. But
They
we
did
were
not.
gypped of an actual
But they're not,
performance on a stage.
But they're not miming the words.
No.
Yeah.
What do you mean miming, Jess? They were singing live in every episode.
Like they always do.
Yeah, always singing live. Hey, Jess, did you want to go over the Alien Hunter episode?
Yeah. So this one is very like Tina centric. And it opens up with a scene from this fictional show called Alien Hunter. And it features Kathy Dennis. She's like an actress in it. And she's playing the character of Jill Ward, who also goes by the name of Cinnamon Hunter. What a name. I don't know where that name came from. But it turns out that this show is filming at the hotel, at the Florida Paradise Hotel. And all the band members are just kind of like, oh my gosh, like, wow, like that's so-and-so, or like how cool is it that they're filming here? And in the background, Tina's dad is visiting Florida for the first time to take Tina out to lunch and just see her since they moved to Florida. So she opts to take a 10-minute break in the back of a laundry truck. She just like kind of just wants to
As
like
one
lay
does.
down, take a nap real quick.
Yeah, like you're at the hotel. Go to your room. Like, what are you laying in a laundry van for?
You're so right. She couldn't be bothered to like walk the 5 minutes to her room. She just needed to pass out right then and there in a pile of
She was
laundry.
up all night making sandwiches because Howard promised an all-you-can-eat buffet or something.
Oh,
So
okay. So
Tina
she's
was up all night
exhausted.
making
She
sandwiches.
cannot walk. Yeah, she just can't be
She's
bothered
too
to walk.
bothered.
She's exhausted. Yeah.
Mhm.
In the background, John ends up chatting up with Jill, who I think there's like some conversations that they've had about inconsistencies here.
Mhm.
Dale?
Yeah, so
Right?
John says, well, in this episode you did this, but in this episode you did that. It's kind of like what we're doing with this. Like, so what John did for
Yes.
Alien Hunter, we're doing with Miami 7. All the inconsistencies.
Right.
Just like us.
Just like us.
Yeah.
And then, like, at some point, he's like, do you think you'll ever find your parents? And she's like, I hope not, because then the show will end.
So, do you think you'll ever find your parents?
Beg pardon?
In the show, do you think you'll ever find them?
I hope not, because then series would finish and I'd have to go back to work in Burger King.
Oh, right.
And I'll have to go to work at Burger King.
Oh, wow. It's still very fresh for you, Katey.
I know, and I haven't even watched it in forever.
I know.
I'm
That's
telling you, I
crazy.
have I could quote the entire episodes. It's weird.
I feel like when I'm watching it, I can quote it, but not just off memory. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's cool. So Howard
Not fake
discovered.
fan.
What is it?
Is it not fake fan?
Not fake fan. Not here. Not here. So Howard discovers that they need an additional person to stay the lines on the show. And Hannah and Rachel are like, oh, this is my moment. This is I'm gonna get this role.
Hey, Jess,
yeah.
Does anyone remember how much they were going to pay for the line on the show?
No.
I know Howard was going to take a cut of it.
So they were
I
offering
don't
whoever
remember.
said the line $50, and Howard was going to take the other $250 because they were offering $300 for the whole role. So he was taking a consulting fee and a manager fee and all these other fees. So he took $250 for them to say 2 words.
No, that's very in character. That's in character of he's always trying to kind of screw them over. You know,
Mhm,
he's
mhm.
a cheap guy trying to always screw them over. But Hannah ends up getting the role, and she just has a simple line of just saying, "Look out!" Literally 2 words. And Rachel is on the other end of where they're filming behind the camera setup, and she's just begins doing stuff to distract Hannah and kind of mocking her so that she could mess up. And Hannah just cannot get it right. She cannot say these 2 words.
At one point, Rachel has a
Bradley-
gorilla outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
where
did she get the
grab that
gorilla
from?
outfit?
It's an alien
I
show.
don't know.
Where does the
Well,
gorilla come
they're
in?
all in different costumes, so there's probably a costume cart somewhere.
Hmm.
You're right.
I don't know
'Cause
what
Paul's
what do
an
these
amazing
costumes have to do with anything? It's Alien Hunter, and you got somebody in
Inconsistency.
a biohazard suit, and someone in he's got the machete on his head, doesn't he? Something
And
like
one
that.
is an officer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So-
what's the
Her,
What's the
her
premise?
second time being an officer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or her first
LA.
of the second.
Yeah, in LA.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And we also get another joke about Hannah's height, because Bradley brings that box over.
Her to
And he's
stand
like,
on.
yeah.
so you can see it's another knock on her height, which is funny because Rachel's shorter than her. But
Yeah, even in the
I know,
scene,
they're
you
so
can see that
short.
Rachel's a little bit taller, or a little bit shorter than Hannah.
yeah, but she gets the short
again,
jokes.
Rachel's
Yes,
so
it's in
small.
the script.
She's petite. Yeah.
Anyway, Jess,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And then-
Continue.
At this point, no. At this point, Bradley realizes wait a minute, someone's missing, which is Tina. She's missing. The truck that she took a quick nap in is now in a brand new location. And some kids discovered her sitting there with her not little, it's a very big alien outfit. And they truly believe that she is an alien. Because when she speaks, it's very muffled and stuff, and she can't open up the head thingy, the helmet or whatever you would call it. Yeah. So there's no way for them to realize that there's actually an adult in there. They think it's an alien, and so Joe and Paul, they start the search for Tina.
I just
And
want to
back at the
interject here,
hotel.
Jess. The kids, they make several references to E.T. because they're like, do we take her to the president, or do you take it to the president? And they're like, no, they'll try to dissect it like they did in ET. So this is another product, like another product placement moment. So
yeah,
I'm just going to interject
Good catch.
every time we have one of those.
that's
Sorry.
why they
No, do
had
it.
a low budget for Clint, because they used all the money on the product placement.
Fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
That's true.
Sorry
That
again,
is true.
Jess.
Yeah, no, but please, like, jump in for sure. So Jill, back at the hotel, Jill requests her stunt double to run up the stairs, who's actually a man. And honestly, like, this is a very common thing in Hollywood. Like, a lot of the stunt doubles for women are men in wigs. So this is actually, like, quite true.
Just not that hairy.
Yeah, I mean, but this
This
stunt
was-
double was clearly hairy and like triple the size of Jill.
Yeah.
Like it.
Then she's like, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
With
yeah,
her
yeah.
heavy accent.
Yeah. What do you
Super
think I
heavy.
am?
You
Some prima donna?
That's a good one. That's a good outfit. So Hannah films her scene. She like is trying again to like film the scene all in one take, say her little lookout line, and Rachel continues to do like a series of things to distract Hannah. So that's like still going on. So at this point, like there's two separate things happening, one at the hotel, one at the mall with Tina. Tina's wandering the mall. She's, she shows up at this photo shoot. And it just so happens that there's a photo shoot happening, like a little photo op about the show happening at the mall. So these, but she's defaced by like children. So that's the thing that
They Sharpie her.
happens. And
The same children from before.
the same children.
They didn't have money for all the
Yeah.
They didn't have money to hire all the actors.
It was a long day for those kids.
They probably got paid like $50.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And at multiple times, like Tina's referred to as being Swedish, which is a thing.
Funny.
I guess it's just like
funny.
the muffling of like her talking and the accent. But yeah, she's they think she's Swedish. And during this bit of like her being at the mall in the costume, they perform "We Can Work It Out." At least it's like they don't really, well, yeah, they kind of like dance to it. She dances to it. So it's being played in the background while she's doing like these photo shoots, along with like some interchangeable scenes of the band driving in the car. So,
And in
it's
case
just
y'all
kind
are
of like-
wondering,
it's kind of
Tina
like a-
is in the car.
It's in the car.
Tina is in the car while this is happening.
You're right. You're right. Because they're
So-
like on the board. They're like driving down near the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Are
Makes
they
no
driving
sense.
though? Because no
No
one's
sense.
really holding on to that steering wheel.
So many
you're right. There's like
continuity
moments
issues.
where like Hannah and Rachel are like they're like this. You're right.
Yeah.
And I think they start switching. Like I think at one point it's Paul driving and then Rachel's driving.
Yeah, it moves like all around.
It's all over the place.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Iconic,
sometimes Hannah's like
classic.
standing up on the driver's seat, like, yeah. Just whatever.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. So there's Tina's in both places at once. And at the end of that song, she ends up in a taxi, but she's still stuck in the suit, and she like gets to the hotel. And at this point, like Hannah still cannot get her line of "look out" done. So it turns out that her role in like her little scene gets cut for timing, which makes sense. And of course, like Rachel asks the wardrobe department for like a biohazard suit, like slit to the waist, because like the ongoing thing with Rachel is that like her sense of fashion and like how much she loves like outfits and stuff. So she's very specific as to like, oh, is there one that has like a slit to the waist and stuff? So very on brand for Rachel to say something like that, which is kind of fun. And then we see Tina's dad. I think this is the first time we ever see a parent,
The first and only
any
time.
of their parents. First and last time we see any of their parents. And he sees her, and he doesn't see her. He finds out that she's like missing, and he blames Howard, rightfully so. But then
What
they
kind
end
of
up being
employer
like
are you?
reunited.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the line. You're right.
Mhm.
And the episode ends with Katey leaving S Club with a journal saying like to fill it up with their dreams and stuff. So this is like a nod to like what the band ends up becoming throughout the end of the series. It's kind of like it starts with this journal. Although we never see the journal again, it's kind of like a cute little like start of like there's more to come.
And also noteworthy that Katey Dennis is responsible for a lot of our S Club songs. So she obviously wrote 2 in a Million. She wrote Never Had a Dream Come True. Have You Ever? I don't think she wrote Have You Ever. She might have written Have You Ever. I don't know. But she wrote These Are the Days. She wrote Sweet Dreams, My LAX. Toxic by Britney Spears. Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue. This is her start. Miami 7. Y'all heard it here first.
That was not her start.
It was not. Katey Dennis was a famous singer in the 80s. And then she came to 19 to be a songwriter. And then I guess she wanted to take up acting. Or they had this random role. I don't know. So the next episode we're going to talk about is Missing. And the title is really everything you need to know. And I mean, kind of all of the previous episodes have kind of told us what it's about. Like, Takeoff is where they leave London / Essex. Howard's Hotel tells us about Howard's Hotel. So every kind of episode gives you what you're going to experience in that episode. And this one is called Missing. And it's basically about all the things that the band is missing. Can anyone guess what Rachel's missing?
Her boyfriend.
Her Tufty Taft. Or whatever it was.
Tufty Tail.
Tufty Tail. I don't know why I want to say Tufty Taft. So Rachel misses her boyfriend. Hannah misses her dog. Paul misses chips, Yorkshire pudding, and Semolina. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's a British thing. Semolina. I don't know what that is.
I don't get that because semolina is a flour, like a grain. Like,
is it an edible flour?
I mean, you use it to make pasta, but I don't know unless you make semolina like a porridge type, maybe.
Who knows? John misses rain, fog, and snow. Bradley misses a sport that he can understand while also holding a magazine called Arsenal, which is a British football team. So he's reading a British football magazine and then complains about sports that he can't understand. Does anyone have any comment on that?
Well, I mean, he should be able to understand soccer here.
He throws the magazine down saying, I'm tired of reading about sports I can't understand, while reading about a sport that is a British sport, like a British team.
Right. It's prominent. Yes.
Maybe he's not. He's reading the Arsenal stuff, but he's like thinking of the US. Like, he's reading stuff he understands, but he's just saying, I miss sports that I can understand.
Like, it would make sense.
The real thing is they should have shows a different cover. They should have shows like football, like as the cover.
Like they should have chose the NFL or like
American football.
And MLB or something.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Well, remember this. It was filmed in the hotel, which was filmed in the UK, so they weren't in the US yet.
They could have printed something. Computer printers existed.
So we're calling continuity on this. So 19XIX, we're watching you. We're watching. Anyway, so all this to find out that Howard loses S Club in a card game to his cousin Hank. So this is the second time that cousin Hank comes up. And it's also the last time that cousin Hank comes up. He's never mentioned again. So I don't want y'all thinking that cousin Hank becomes a permanent fixture, because S Club do go back to Howard at the end of the episode. Spoiler alert. Anyway, it turns out that Hank is much worse than Howard, and he just has S Club working ragged. And they cannot believe their lives. They don't get to perform anymore. They just don't get that luxury. But after working all day, Paul and Hannah decide that they want to have fun, and they go to the beach, where Hannah discovers yet another beach crush. Don't we all have a lot of beach crushes when we go to the beach?
Apparently.
But during this time, the band discusses how much they miss Howard, which is something that we never thought that they would discuss, but here they are, missing Howard.
Mm-hmm.
And
times are bad.
Times are bad. So the band gives Hannah advice on how to approach her gym crush, who is a lifeguard, and how she wants the lifeguard man to notice her. And like she does a couple of things to like make a fool of herself. She falls and like she throws the ball in front of him while he has a binocular trying to save people from drowning. And it's not working. It's just not working. And while Hannah is sunbathing in the ocean, so I think it's Hannah and I think Paul in the ocean
I think it's
sunbathing,
John.
or
I feel like it's John. Like, yeah.
Anyway, so there's what are those things called where you're the jet ski? So there's a jet skier, and they create waves that push Hannah off of her floaty, and Hannah is now drowning.
Or Lilo.
And
that's what she calls it.
yeah. So the girls who are like at the beach sunbathing think that this is a great thing for Hannah to do to get his attention. They think that it's just this most amazing thing. And if you like someone, it is important to fake drowning. But just know that if you ever see Dale drowning in a beach, it is not fake. I cannot swim. So in this episode, they also mentioned Posh and Beckham, which, if y'all don't know, Posh and Beckham were really big around this time. It was 1999 or 1999, as McKay says. I can't do it how he said it, but
1999.
Yeah, he said it funny, and not making fun of you, McKay. I thought it was hilarious and very charming. But
this is 1990.
Yeah, it was 1999, so it was peak Posh and Becks, and like they were at the front of every magazine. I think they just got married. They just had their kid. They're basically British royalty at this point, and they're also managed by Simon Fuller again. So it's just it's funny to see how the worlds kind of connect. And there's another thing in a couple of episodes where the worlds kind of collide, and we'll talk more about that when we get there. So Howard and Marvin conspire to get S Club back to the hotel because the profits for the Florida Paradise Hotel have gone down since S Club left. They cannot believe their lives, and they need to get S Club back. So S Club hang around the beach as Hannah is on a date with her lifeguard, and they just keep approaching her and like saying, like interjecting, trying to make sure everything goes well. Do y'all ever have those friends that just try a little too hard to make things go perfectly? That's S Club for Hannah in this date.
No.
So Howard goes to the Sunset Sands to get S Club back, and he's going to play them in a card game, and he's like, I'm going to cheat this time. And they're like, well, Howard, you always cheat, and you still lose. It's like, how do you cheat and lose? Tina offers to play the English rules of poker to get S Club back under Howard's roof. And I didn't know that there were different rules for poker in England. Did y'all?
No.
Because I didn't know. And it turns out that there's not. Because they play this weird variation where they're like the Bun family. So there's Mr. Bun and Mrs. Bun and Honey Bun, and then
Master Bun, the maker's son.
It was so weird.
And Chelsea Bun, their daughter, and Cupcake.
Cupcake from Mr. Bun's previous marriage. But Hannah has to say goodbye to her lifeguard beach boyfriend, despite the fact that it's only up the beach. It's not that far, but they have to break up, Katey. They have to break up.
Dramatic.
They cannot believe
dramatic teenagers.
They cannot believe the distance that is now between them in this moment.
He's a 16-year-old in love. I mean, they got to be dramatic.
I don't know about
but
y'all,
by the way,
but
that dude didn't look 16.
No. But I've dated people that live like hundreds of miles away from me. Like, don't worry about that. It's hard out here in Georgia. Anyway, so they have to break up, and then Hannah now misses her beach boyfriend, and Rachel beautifully performs I Really Miss You, because everyone is missing someone or something. And this version of I Really Miss You also has an alternate ending, which is much softer. And like Rachel is just beautifully baritone, and I don't know if that's the right word, but she's just very angelic in this performance. And like the music just disappears and Rachel's vocals are still going. And I just want to paint y'all a very beautiful picture of this very beautiful song sung by Rachel Lauren Stevens in the missing episode of Miami 7.
Yeah, this is a song that makes sense to include in an episode, like thematically in an episode like this. So it's like the perfect,
unlike 2 in a Million,
wrapped in a bow versus 2 in a million when Joe breaks up with her boyfriend. Doesn't make sense.
Cannot believe their
This
lives.
episode does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a very good episode. Again, I think Rachel singing I Really Miss You really puts a beautiful bow on top of a lovely episode.
Hey, it's Katey. Thank you guys for listening to episode 2 of our Miami 7 revisit. Please join us next week as we review the last 4 episodes and hear our final thoughts on the Miami 7 series. If you love Jess as much as we do, you can follow her at JESS on Twitter. You can also follow Dale at World of S Club, me at Katie Carmen, and of course follow the podcast at the SClubBeat on all social media platforms. Also, if you'd like to talk to us more, you can join the S Club Discord at join.sclub.org, and we'd be happy to hear from you there. And please leave comments below on what you think of our podcast, and I hope you enjoy it. Bye.
You're listening to the SClubBeat with Dale and Katey.